and I have the money to cover. I had no money yet. I was like,
You guys are having too much fun for commissioner.
It is 9:30. This is the Board of Commissioners, Richland County. I'm Darrell Banks. I'm with fellow commissioners Tony Vero and Sif Mears, Stacy Carl, our clerk. Chuck Minnick is here. Amanda Miller, Rick Evans, Joe Jakubik, MFD. And online we have Al Lawrence News Journal and Carl Hunnell from Richland Source.
And if we let the minutes reflect, Jakubik still can't hit the short corner three. So let's just let the minutes reflect.
Out and school him in basketball.
I know. I heard a rumor that he already got beat by a sixth grader,
Fifth grader.
fifth grader. Isn't he going into sixth?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you two go one-on-one.
Oh, I want to.
No, I would love to see
He's
that.
old and injured.
And he would.
So capable. You gotta look at my competition. I've lowered my competition level as I gotten older. I got wiser, right? So now, yeah, I'm down to Tony. I don't know what's next.
This means how to look at Stacy's face right now.
Fun.
Hey, we've got Amanda here from wastewater and she's got a whole list of stuff.
Woo.
do I get to sit right
Amanda.
here? Sit at the table.
You get to come up to the fancy new table.
Okay. I get to come. Oh no, Rick, you get to come up with me.
Move up a chair.
I've dragged Rick Evans here to assist me today.
Go chairs.
We wanted to talk today about joining Ohio WARN. It is WARN. Ohio WARN stands for Ohio Water Wastewater Agency Response Network. They're a group of different organizations throughout the state that supplies mutual aid to each other in times of emergency. I had the opportunity to go to a seminar they put on a while ago, and it's a great resource for the county. It costs nothing to join. They do ask that you sign a mutual aid agreement, which I had supplied to you previously. Mutual aid agreement doesn't legally bind us to supply aid to anyone. If we are in a position where we're able to and can, then it gives us that grace and guidelines in order to do that, to proceed forward. With COVID going through, we didn't have any real problems with our suppliers. Most everything we needed was right there and we were able to get what we needed. Unfortunately, now that COVID has went through and all the delays of production and that have caused sometimes 16, 18 weeks, some things may not even be produced anymore this year. Our inventories are down and a lot of our supplies are very specific, and the only other place we could find them would be at another agency had them. And it would give us a broader network to be able to ask for aid, assistance, and supplies, pumps, anything that they have that they could offer us. We could ask for assistance.
Mansfield being the most logical entity because they're the closest to us. Are they a part of this?
Not to my knowledge, they are not. I had talked to them a while back and they had not been a member of it. It is something I think is very good. Mansfield does help us and we help Mansfield if they call. We don't have any type of mutual aid agreement in place and how that happens. We just naturally help any of our constituents.
Just a friendly handshake to say
Yes.
you need something.
If you need something, give us a call. Belleville's helped us in crisis when we had repair problems down there. It's what we do, but this would broaden our scope and being able to call in an emergency instead of worrying about where we're going to get it from necessarily and just handle the emergency. We could put the alert out and they would offer.
Is there a cost to join WARN?
No, there is no cost to it. The only specific requirement is that mutual aid agreement.
And Mr. Keller is good with the agreement?
Mr. Keller, as long as we provide aid to like utilities.
Makes sense to me, particularly with the supply chain issues going on. So a motion to approve at this time.
Second.
Did you have anything, Rick, you wanted to add to this?
I think, Amanda pretty well said it all, but to me, it kind of acts like the statewide mutual aid with fire and law enforcement that, you know, a disaster happens like that. You have to go out 2 or 3 counties to get the resources in like that. So Amanda's got a good, program of it. So I think, it'd be a good idea to do it. There's no cost to it and it doesn't lock you in to send someone if they needed help, but if you can, that's great, and vice versa. Help coming back in. So I think it's a good idea.
Issue as well as reassurance to our customers.
Yeah.
Okay. Take a vote?
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Okay, next, I guess on your list is to discuss the roof at the Illinois Avenue. Hitting Rick for Chuck, huh?
Yes.
An upgrade or a downgrade?
Well, I have to bring experts with me.
It's all warm for you.
Sounds good.
See you, Rick.
Here, Rick.
Now, sadly, I will defer to Chuck on some of this as far as roofing goes. This is a new experience for me and having to deal with this. But I had asked for his assistance in looking at our Illinois Avenue lift station. That lift station pumps around 400,000 gallons to Mansfield every day and is a primary hub to our transport of sanitary sewage to the treatment center. It's been in since 1995 and the roof has not had much, if any, repair maintenance done to it.
So I saw the pictures. The pictures are worth 1,000 words, so it's obvious the roof
Yeah, it's a measure.
needs fixed.
Yes.
The only question I had was you had put in your memo, the primary portion of this expenditure was factored into the 2021 wastewater contract projects line item. So I went and pulled it. And all I saw was in that line item was just miscellaneous vendors.
Yes, I didn't know what actual project we were getting onto. I hadn't got any response back or hadn't looking at the roof yet. So I didn't know who would be doing what, or if I'd have to bid it out at that point.
So miscellaneous projects, you did mean roof though?
Roof
Okay,
and
okay, because I even did a word search for roof to make sure it wasn't in another line item.
no, that it's what I wanted to look at and if we could afford to get it done. But like I said, I hadn't had the inspection evaluation done, so I didn't know if it could just go with some minor repairs or if it needed a whole new. Most of that money was set aside. I thought probably around $25,000-$30,000 would do it. But in looking at after the evaluation, as I said, I've never done a roof before, so I was guessing on that. We do have the additional funds to cover in our maintenance repair line item that can be transferred.
Transfer, or Stacy, how would you want to, I mean, again, the pictures are worth 1,000 words. I don't think, I mean.
It needs to.
So the question is, do we need to make the motion as to where, or should we just let Amanda decide where to transfer the money?
I would say you can make the motion to move ahead. She has the money in her budget. She will probably just move it.
Yeah, I'll just transfer the rest of it where I need it. So
Okay, anything?
Garland's a company that we've used for a long time around here. They're excellent on warranty and they do an excellent job. They're excellent, actually a state that we'll be using Richland County roofers to put it on. So the product's coming from Garland, but the local roofers in Richland County keep the tax dollars local.
Excellent. Motion to approve?
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
Mr. Kubik, the next.
must be up
It's up to speak about sanitary engineers.
Just asking about the 2 telephone poles in the back. Yeah.
When it gets, I'll let it.
Amanda, you're going to talk to us about quality.
Can we hold up for 1 second, just real quick on the roof that we're just talking about?
Sure.
How big is the roof and how much money is estimated to be needed? Are you replacing it or repairing it?
let me get to,
Ms. Miller will answer your questions, Carl.
Thank you, sir.
You let my guy go.
Well, I tried to,
It is
1,600 square
16
feet.
Square feet. And a
45,000.
45,000 is what I'm looking at and doing a,
Standing seam.
name, sorry. On to the next one.
this is a roof replacement rather than a repair.
Yes, they're doing a whole new roof on.
We have pretty pictures if you'd like to see them.
That's okay. And my understanding, if I heard correctly, this building was constructed in 1995 and it still has the original roof, or
Yes,
the money is going to come from the wastewater budget.
yes.
Amanda, do you have a timeline on when you'd like to see this work done by?
We're hoping to actually get on their fall schedule and get it done this year. While I'm here today, they have some timeframes in. They're going to try to get everything put out and priced out so that we can get it on before winter this year.
Okay, and you had said this particular lift station is kind of your primary hub at 400, moves 400,000 gallons a day.
Out of all of our lift stations, yes, it's our primary that goes to Mansfield.
That's what I needed. Thank you.
We need to take a recess. Daryl had to step out real quick.
We should.
Am I the vice chair?
I think so.
Pardon the interruption. Okay. So we are back, and did everybody get all their questions answered? Evidently.
So.
Okay, so tell us about the qualifications.
Back in May, we had published for request for qualifications. We had a deadline of mid-June, and we got a great response. We ended up having 9 different engineers respond to our request. All of them qualified. They have endless experience doing sanitary sewers, endless reference. Everything can be verified about the quality of work. And I'd like to move forward with getting them all qualified at this time so that this discussion on the projects that we have.
One thing I'll mention that I mentioned during recess, I don't know if you gentlemen heard that.
Well, hopefully we didn't. Otherwise, we'd have an open meeting act violation. We did not hear any of
I
that.
heard nothing. I heard nothing.
You weren't even in the room. Oh, you're good.
Okay, well, it's not that it's that big a deal anyway, but on Amanda's email, she indicated that one engineering step seemed to go a little bit further in inquiring about the projects. That's Jones and Henry. They're based in Toledo. I'm familiar with them because I'm from Toledo. They're about 5 times the size of K.E. McCartney. And they're very competent, Toledo and Lucas County. So it was interesting to see that they're on the list. Because
No, they have worked with
they're,
Field and had done some stuff over in Worcester and that too.
they may be the largest in Toledo, Lucas County.
Oh, okay. That I didn't know. I knew we had reached out a lot farther than I thought we had, because we published that locally. It was on the web. So we had a number of the people that, as you can see, they had seen that ad.
I only mention it because I saw them on the list. Like, oh, I know these guys.
Should we disqualify them then since Cliff knows them?
Well, first of all, they're from Toledo. so-
Right. I mean,
And that was 40 years ago.
But we do have a variety of projects that, that going forth. And I know that I'm going to be using more than just one in moving forward with our 21, 22 projects. I like to see some new ideas, some fresh ideas, and also work with those that we've worked with before, that know our system moving forward. And they're also on the list.
Make a motion to accept the list.
We're gonna qualify.
Qualify.
As projects come up, then we will,
Does that help
you
with that?
choose the best suited for each project. But what we're doing is qualifying.
When Mayor of Belleville, we would qualify engineers. It was always interesting. And like Stacy just said, a particular project would determine which one would come up with, which one or two or three would come up with the best solutions depending on the project. So the work has just begun to pick out the right people, but this is the,
Right.
this is the
It's
point.
based on that engineering
They're all pretty
expertise,
good.
right?
They're all good. So.
yeah, I'll second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Well. Want us to buy a piece of equipment?
Man, you're just spending like crazy.
And spend.
Worked hard with us to pass rate increases so that we could get into a place to where we can actually make necessary repairs and buy the necessary equipment to take care of our customers. Yeah, I'm asking for more equipment.
Asking for a pipe hunter.
I went online to check these out. They're pretty cool. Who gets to drive them?
But you walk behind them.
You walk behind them,
Yeah, it's.
just to remote control it.
I have a great maintenance staff and my maintenance guys, but it had gotten to where we were short staffed and we needed to, it sounds crazy, but to drag these hoses into areas and get them into unique places. First of all, I've got to have a place I can park the truck, that it stays balanced and that it's safe. Solid ground to put the truck on in order to drag the 600-foot hose back to an area. But we have a lot of things that are wound through the woods and in backyards of places where we have fences and different things that we have to overcome. But it can take up to 4 guys to pull this hose at one time. We were shorthanded. At one point, I actually had to call a billing clerk.
Joe's available.
Kevin was awesome. I'm like, I know, but we're covered in contract. Can you come out and help us? We're in need to get it to a location, but we were still short some of the line that we needed. And this
It
easement.
was farther away than 600 feet,
Yes. And
like the 2 football fields.
we have some sections of line that can run 400 feet in one stretch between manholes. And if you have to run 300 or 400 feet of line from the truck, then we're not going to make that full jetting. And the easement machine will give us an additional 600 feet plus help us get that line where it needs to go so that we can jet the full 400 runs.
We ever had one of these?
No, we have never had one. It's something that should have been in place a long time ago because of where these lines are.
Mansfield's got one.
Mansfield just,
Cadillac.
Well, Bobby Bianchi has one. We can't let him beat us.
when I was talking and discussing with the different sales guys, they had let me know that if I wanted to see. So,
Better than Bob's. So I can,
I'm sorry, we don't have Cadillac money. We have Buick money. I bought the Buick. I didn't buy the Cadillac. But it'll serve our needs. And that's what I'm after, is to be able to better serve our customers and maintain our lines.
I thought the name was a little misleading. It says Pipe Hunter.
I find it.
And I go online and look at the videos and you're delivering the hose to the pipe.
Yep. And
Hunting the pipe.
it's hunting it. And
Okay.
we wanted to go with the track system because of the.
And it moves
terrain.
sideways too. That's what I thought was pretty cool.
Yes, we can get it to move around. We're not getting the platform where it spreads out to the 48 inches. That was an expensive add-on that we didn't feel that we needed for this.
Motion to approve.
We're gonna be able to serve our customers better, aren't we?
Yes, and it'll make it faster when
I want
we're
to
responding
drive
to
I do.
backups
Other-
or anything. So I think it's really going to be neat, and they're going to come down and train us and everything for that price. So
I would hope for that price they'll come down and train us a little
I
bit.
would think so.
hey, there's nothing in wastewater cheap.
Is that a second?
That was the second.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes,
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
hey, news media, we are done
Do we
with.
want Mr. Jakubik to speak to us on anything, or is he just?
Couple of questions before Amanda leaves.
Sorry.
That's what I would.
The sidetrack easement machine, is this a new piece of equipment, and what's the contract price that you're paying for it?
It is a new piece of equipment, and they were able to give us, by taking off some of the options, in a small discount, they were able to price it in $38,904.
And Amanda, when do you anticipate getting the machine now that you've gotten the approval?
I'm hoping to get it in the next 12 weeks.
What's the name of the company that's actually selling? Because I just looked online. I see there's several companies that actually sell this thing or something like that.
MTech has actually provided the quote for us.
In Tech?
M as in Mansfield.
Okay,
Yeah.
M Tech. All right. Very
It's
good.
less than the
That's
cost of a roof.
Well, the original Cadillac model with all the accessories and trailers and everything was almost
More
$56,000.
than the cost of a roof.
So it costs more than the roof. Then I
You already,
want the roof.
you already have the trailer to haul it around.
Yes, we are. You guys already approved a trailer a couple of years ago and stuff like that. We have the equipment, other additional stuff that we didn't choose to purchase. We already have what we need to take care of it.
So
And if I read this right, Amanda, this basically allows you to clean out lines without having to necessarily go through people's yards with equipment and things like that. You set this off to the side and you run the hose to the line.
Actually, it extends the hose. It helps run the hose from our truck to the area that we need it to, and then it will track further into these harder to deal with areas to maneuver additional hose so that we can jet the lines. If we go down a wooded path and we have to go through a fence in a backyard, we can park the truck on the street and the truck is safe, not buried in mud, and then pull the hose through. The easement machine will pull the hose rather than having four or five people trying to pull this hose around and maneuver it down to where we need it.
Okay, thank you.
I've got one question. MTech is from where?
Well, it's Texas is where Pipe Hunter Inc. is.
MTech is their Ohio dealer,
Right.
and I don't remember where they're out of.
It's in Cleveland now.
Cleveland. Thank you.
Good job, Carl.
Good boy.
question, on a given repair with the easement machine or without, is the size of the crew required to make that repair smaller
Yes,
than it would have been?
to do it,
So there's going to be less labor costs.
generally on a regular standard lateral that we can just park in the street and we can jet the lines if the line is going along the road. It only requires 2 people to operate my truck. In these cases where they're back in the woods and everything, I can have a call out and I can have 4 or more people out at one time. trying to get to the line and be able to get there safely. So, this will help eliminate that staffing, because we're calling 4 people in after hours generally, and our response time should improve because we won't have to be waiting for everybody to get there and actually to get it done.
Well, thank you.
Amanda?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Joe, did you want to address this?
Nothing really new. I did mention about that last LEPC meeting to Rick. We're in the process of building a new safety trailer. And we're gonna go, hopefully next year, we'll start on the path of being able to train or offer a session of training for first responders if they come around down electric lines and what they need to do, or if they approach a house that has a down power line or something like that. So, but that's really about it here. I know Chuck was talking, I talked to him yesterday. There's a couple poles sitting here.
South
on the,
of the courthouse.
exactly. And we're supposed to get out, hopefully next week. There's a couple poles that need replaced there.
AEP's had a safety trailer for some time, haven't they?
Well, we've had one. This is a new and improved.
Okay.
Joe, the reason power went out at North Central last week, is that what you were telling me?
It might be.
I'm not sure about that.
I surprised you show up for the abuse that.
This is just the daily texting conversation.
My main reason was stopping by is just to inform everyone that Ethan Bianchi, Bianchi's son, beat Tony in a game of one-on-one. And
Video proof that isn't true.
you know,
He's got a long way to go, but he's a good player. His private coaching's pretty weak. He's gonna shift over to someone different.
Okay. Well, we're going to stand in recess. First of all, we appreciate the safety trailer that you're going to have and hope that all our safety forces will take advantage of that. It's 9:57 and we will we have an executive session to go into to discuss discipline and and we come back out. That's the only 2 executive things.
Correct.
Yes, we have 2 discipline things to handle and then we'll be back. That I would not think it would take too long.
Let's see.
okay.
You get that day off? Watch that, watch Paolo.
I will.
Wait,
It is 10 a.m. We have been joined by Charlene Newman and Kelly Christensen, and we are going into executive session for discipline.
Our favorite needs to be.
Not true.
I was being snarky.
Surprise, surprise.
I know. It's just
I was thinking.
makes me happy.
better.
You know, snark. Sometimes appropriate.
What are you looking at me for? Oh, motion.
You know, one of those.
Ask me a question about a security badge. Sorry, Steve.
For
Yeah.
executive session.
I'll second it.
All right, thanks.
Distraction there.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Ay,
What do we get? Like
Ready?
Yes.
Okay, it is 10:30 and we are back in session. Do we have any motions to make out of this session?
We do.
Session?
My first motion would be I will move to assess 2 separate 1-day suspensions for a group 1 violation at our Job and Family Services Department.
I will second that.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
And you have another one.
This time I would like to move that we assess a 1-day working suspension for an employee at Dayspring as a result of being absent without leave.
Okay, and Michelle was,
We gotta take our vote, Daryl.
sorry about that.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes. Michelle called me yesterday or the day before and asked me about the Dayspring Nursing Station Edition. And I think I told her that she didn't need to be here for that since we had already discussed it. And when she was here the last time, and it's money she's saving on the roof and would like to add the nursing station, which is well needed at the Dayspring, and she has the money, and so I don't think we need to hear anything more from her unless you guys do.
We discussed it. We approved it. She's still saving money on the roof. Motion to approve.
But this is like to try to enter into an MOA for mitigation. Adding on nurses station.
Correct. I apologize. She's asking that we approve the $25 towards the MOA as we move forward towards the nurses station edition. I apologize.
And you're still making the motion.
Yes, sir.
And you're still second.
Mhm.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
I'm not sure about the lightning.
We want to go ahead and go through the rest and then maybe you can call it.
Okay.
You don't have to.
You, okay, just
Oh,
to make sure you are finished.
Okay.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay. Let's go through other and to certify the record of proceedings for July 8th.
Sorry, did we authorize these lightning rounds?
Not yet.
No, we're
Discuss that.
see if she shows up. He'll call her.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the proceedings for July 8th.
Second.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero? Commissioner Mears?
Can we get approval of the requisitions?
So moved.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment on the purchase of the electronic poll books. I did talk to Jane Zimmerman yesterday because I was curious about that. It was a large amount of money. It was for 150 of them. And she explained to me the process, what they're used for. And it all makes perfect sense, so I will second that.
Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
Okay. Can we approve the renewal lease agreement with JFS and the Ohio Department of Medicaid?
So moved.
I think I understood. That's about, they rent space from us, right?
Yes.
Second.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
We want to adopt the 2022 budget.
Very lengthy document, if anyone actually wants it. The recitation of tax revenues. Motion to approve.
Second.
Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero? Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Okay, let's discuss, possibly approve the sales tax sharing resolution with all the jurisdictions in the county. Currently, we have an agreement that goes back a long time to share a portion of the sales tax. We have lowered it, I think once Tony and I have been here. And I think talking, does anyone have a suggestion on what we do with it for this year?
Dave, what we currently pay?
Right, so this is the age-old debate as to what is the definition of excess in the contracts with all the political subdivisions. I think we've taken an approach, while this is a sales tax analysis, we've taken an approach that when it comes to budgeting, we look at a big picture approach. And the reason for that is simple. If we have to make cuts at our level, it doesn't seem equitable then to not also make cuts in that specific sales tax allotment that covers the excess piece. Let's be clear, we always meet the road mileage pieces of those agreements. But we don't think it's fair to other county elected offices to say, we're going to ask you to make cuts in your budget, which a sales tax is a part of, but then not also do the same in the sales tax excess portion. But yes, we are coming out of COVID. I think it would be a nice gesture to our townships, our cities, our villages, to not make cuts this year. But I think there needs to be an understanding that if we have to make budget cuts next year, that we probably will make cuts in the excess. That's my thought process.
So we have always done what the original agreement, always done that. And I believe in that agreement, it says we can do more if we have an excess. And we do not have an excess. In fact, we got to cut 10%. But they're, like you said, they're hurting coming out of COVID and everything. So I would agree with Cliff
Not
and
make any changes for this year.
yeah, not to make any changes this year. And as Tony says, give them fair warning that
Look at it again.
I'll look at it very closely next year.
So I guess at this time, I will make a motion to disperse the sales tax sharing amounts with our cities, villages, and townships that will be exactly the same as the previous years.
We'll second that.
When you say previous year, do you want to say
2021.
it's only one?
2021.
Thank
It's
you.
weird because the dispersal happens, we're discussing it now, so.
What you're discussing now is for calendar year 2022.
Correct.
Yes.
So they're going to get the same as they're going to get in 2021.
Yes.
2022.
Yes.
Yeah.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
Okay. Next point of business. COVID-19 reimbursement for CARES funds. It's $4,665 to the general fund for retriever signs and advertising. And I guess we,
Yeah, and we've discussed that, so.
The retriever signs is the annual maintenance.
Right.
yeah,
But we'll need to discuss beyond that though, because this will no longer be covered after this year for the,
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the commissioner's budget.
and we'll discuss it from there.
yeah, good idea. Is there a motion to move the money to the general fund to pay for the retrievers and advertising?
So moved.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
Okay, next point of business is COVID-19 CARES request from the recorder for $16,570.08. Zoom meetings and with the public not having to come in the recorder's office as often.
Yeah, she had submitted a document yesterday. We asked for a resubmission. It appears that there was an oversight and there was a document provided based off the Rescue Plan Act. We needed justification for the CARES money because that's what the request is asking for. So Recorder Davis got on that and submitted the request to justify the appropriation under the CARES Act. So at this time, I'll make that motion.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
It is 10:42 and we will recess until 11 a.m. when Joe Trayan will be here from the Mental Health Board.
Couple of questions, guys.
Yes.
Okay, if we could back up to what you just voted on in terms of the sales tax sharing. What is the total dollar amount then that the county will be sharing with the 27 other subdivisions?
I'll go get that. Hold on.
And I'm assuming based upon the conversation that the county will continue to pay the, what, $1,500 per mile that it pays for road mileage?
$1,514.60.
That's the road mileage
That's the per road.
Per mile.
per mile, yeah.
Total amount shared will be a little over $2 million. Approximately $2 million.
And that's, just trying to look back in 2019. You guys had said that Richland was only one of 2 of 88 counties that shared sales tax. Is that still accurate, or do you know?
To our knowledge, I addressed this at the last meeting. Ourselves and Washington County are the only 2 counties that share sales tax with their political subdivisions.
Something that's recommended by the roofer.
Just back
I've
up
got a
real quick.
question or two. What, I know that MOA with Dayspring involved money, but what did it involve in terms of the Nurses Station project? Is that going to extra work or just?
Cliff, you got that one?
Yeah, I do. That's a memo of understanding to use some of the CDBG money for a nurses station addition. And that's coming from sales that, or savings that came from the roof project.
All right, so it's just a money issue. It has nothing to do with any kind of change in the actual project itself.
Right. I don't think it's a change in the project.
Well, we saved money on the roof. This is something we needed.
It'll include 2 rooms, a dedicated bathroom, and a separate entrance. Prompted by the CARES or the COVID situation.
Yeah, it's all covered under the community grant, I believe.
Yeah.
Back to the sales tax for just a moment then. What is the total of the excessive sales tax? I know you said it was a little over 2 million total. That includes the road mileage. How much of that little over 2 million is it? About 600,000 is the excessive sales that you're sharing?
We're sharing a little under 600,000. It's 582,109.95. The mileage comes to about 1.4 million and the excess is a little under 600,000.
Any more questions? Okay, we do have one piece of business before we go into recess. And that is on our roof at the Dayspring. We're putting on a new roof. Mr. Seckel, the architect, has inspected our lightning rod situation. The idea at first was that they would be inspected, they'd be all right, and we just put them back up. And Dan Seckel has informed us that they are not going to be able to be repaired and put back in place, and that the proposal for these services, which is to put the lightning rods back up, is $22,845. And since we were $200,000 savings on the roof, we can afford to do this.
Makes sense to me. Motion to approve the lighting protection, rod protection system.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Any questions about that or anything else?
No, I'm good.
You get the amount on that? For the lightning rods?
$22,845. Okay, it is 10:48. We will recess until 11 o'clock. And Mr. Trillion will be here about board approved appointments. Thank you. I mean, you're ready.
I'm ready, yes.
It is 11 a.m. And this is the 13th day of July 2021. Joe Chorian has joined us and is going to talk to us about board appointments.
Yes. First off, thank you for the reappointment of Ron Moten. He's been a great board member, and I'm looking forward to having him for another 4 years. And also for the appointment of Jeff Fox or Jay Fox or Jay Wax, whichever he chooses to go by. But it'll be great. It's been a while since we've had somebody on the board that really represents media well, and we've been partnering with him.
Sure Jay does that.
Ask him anytime.
I told him we need to work on our vetting process, as you saw.
But no, that's a good appointment. The one that I came up here to talk to about was Jeff Heck, and I realized there are some concerns. And so under the advisement of Commissioner Vero, and after having talked with the prosecutor's office, I just wanted to see if there's something we can do or what we can do. I rarely am this excited about a potential board member. He just really fits multiple bills. And I realize that there are some potential conflicts of interest. And so I want to do whatever I can to present the case, but ultimately the decision is yours. These are your appointments. Commissioners do not have categorical requirements. The only requirement is that somebody be a Richland County resident. Traditionally, we have always tried to have at least one attorney on the board. It's not that we use their legal services. In fact, that would present a conflict of interest, but it's nice when we're talking about state policy, local policy, federal policy, to have somebody with a legal background and understand what we're discussing. We've also tried to make sure we always have a finance person on the board, somebody from the education field. The department has specific categorical appointments, but commissioners do not. So that's why I'm saying ultimately the decision is yours. But I would just like to hear if there's anything I can help clarify, or if there's anything I can help to kind of sway the commissioners. The good thing about this particular position is it is a continuation. Cheryl Groff was filling the position prior to being named as a magistrate, which created a conflict of interest. So it would be the completion of a 4-year term prior to him receiving a full 4-year term. Also, we now currently have 13 of our 14 positions filled. Again, thank you to the commissioners for the 2 appointments. So if we went for a few months without the position filled, I'm not that concerned about it. We would still have plenty for a quorum. We wouldn't be running into issues along that line, because I know that there is a pending court case that he's representing somebody who's suing the county. I don't want to create any problems with that. The prosecutor's office opinion was that Jeff should be the one to determine whether or not he feels it's a conflict of interest. So they felt that there wasn't a problem with him being appointed to the board. Again, I don't want to create major issues. My wife's an attorney, so I hear loud and proud, everybody is entitled to representation. So with that said, I will stop talking and see what the commissioners have to say.
So I would agree with your wife's sentiment that everyone is entitled to representation. With that also being said, I think your wife would also say with representation, attorneys in particular have to be wary of conflicts of interest. So no one is saying that Mr. Heck, he absolutely has a right to represent whomever he wishes, and people have a right to retain whomever they wish. With that being said, though, Mr. Heck is the attorney on a lawsuit right now in which he's suing the Richland County Board of Commissioners. Now, he's not suing us in particular. He's suing the county, and by law, we are the named parties in the suit. So at its core, Mr. Heck is asking a board to appoint him to a position in which he's presently suing those people. Almost my immediate reaction to such a situation would be no, right? However, I felt Jeff's potential appointment merited a discussion because I know Jeff personally. I mean, we're not friends, but I know Jeff. He's very well respected. He certainly has done good work, in the mental health community. So I didn't want it to be an outright no. Normally, I would have called you ahead of time and say, hey, call the other commissioners, or this would be a no to me. But I felt Jeff, because of his unique circumstance in the county, it was certainly worth the discussion. And I could go either way, but I obviously would like to hear from these two. But it is, I think I would have questions for Jeff, but you guys go ahead.
Well, my first comment is the prosecutor's office has not blocked this.
Yeah.
They issued opinion and he said it's okay as far as they're concerned.
They felt that it's the specific attorney's requirement to determine whether or not they have a conflict of interest. Now, does that mean Jeff, by not claiming he has a conflict of interest, is doing something unethical? Again, that would
We're
be
not saying that. I guess what I'm saying is, since Jeff's not here today, do you think has Jeff shared any thoughts to say, hey, I'm asking the Richland County Board of Commissioners to appoint me to a board when I've named the Board of Richland County Commissioners opposing parties on a lawsuit I'm filing? I mean, in and of itself, that seems to be a conflict of interest.
we did discuss this initially when Cheryl stepped down and I had talked to him about serving on the board. He said, currently I'm in the process of a lawsuit that has the commissioner's name. And I, do you have an idea of how long this is going to go? And he's like, not at this point. So we didn't. And I said, well, honestly, I would like you to hold off on your appointment anyway. Reason being, and again, one of the biggest motivations I have with Jeff serving on the board is it's rare to find an attorney that's got a passion that he does with his daughter's organization, or his organization 33 Forever, representing his daughter. They have really been a good voice for advocacy in the community that we don't find. That's an important piece. It's in a county this size, it's hard to find people that are passionate, that are already hooked up with the board in some way or another. And so you wind up not being able to put on the board because you're already funding. But one of the things I had said is I would actually like you to wait until July anyway, before we put in it.
This July.
Right. Reason being, if we had started him in February, he would take over the term that Cheryl, there's a 51% line. If he starts early, he'd have a short term. His first year term would only be 2.5 years. As opposed to waiting till you pass that 2-year mark, then he finishes a partial term and can serve another 2 full terms.
So his term would expire June 30th, 23.
So I have what if we did the, well, I guess I'm one of 3. I certainly would like Jeff to be on that board at some point because I think he would be of value to the board. But I would also like Jeff to come on the board when he doesn't have pending litigation against the Richland County Board of Commissioners. So my thoughts would be once the pendency of that case is over, then you seek his appointment. And then Jeff can make the determination of, okay, if I still intend to eventually name Richland County as an opposing party, I probably will have to step down as a board member or vice versa. But now that choice is squarely in Jeff's to say, look, okay, I still want to continue to serve as an attorney in full capacity. And if I do intend to sue Richland County, then I need to make the choice as to which one I'm going to, to me, the choice is in Jeff's position there. Those are my thoughts.
And we had a banker that served on the board that picked up, he was with Richland Bank, had to step down because he was representing a number of the agencies that Richland Bank was picking up. We've had people that have started jobs that they've had to step off the board because those jobs were at agencies or somebody that we funded. So that's not unusual. In fact, we're usually the ones saying this is now a conflict of interest and you need to step down. So I do not have a problem with that at all.
So are you suggesting he not be appointed until the litigation is over?
That's, I think would be my preference. I just think it's cleaner. I think it gives the taxpayers, an opportunity to say, okay, no potential conflict exists. Cause I do want Jeff to be on the board, but at the same time, you know, like I said, I don't want to rehash it. He's named us in a lawsuit, which is fine. But then you're also saying, hey, those same people have named in a lawsuit. Now I want you to appoint me to a county board.
Yeah, that is uncomfortable.
Yes, I think that would be a good compromise.
You think?
I will be more than happy to reach out to Jeff and tell him we're gonna table his application till the lawsuit's over. I think he'll be accepting of that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Initially, like I said, he was holding off thinking this would be done by, so.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Me?
We don't need to take any action.
Right. So I will be swearing in 2 people then next week. 3.
You have 2 department appointees. So Jay Fox is gonna be, Jay Wax, if you use his proper name.
Ron.
He'll be your appointee that's coming in. But we also have Susan Lear, who was appointed by the department, and Mike Donahue, who was appointed by the department.
Okay.
And then Ron doesn't need to be re-sworn in. So we're not too concerned about that. However, while I have you here, we are going
On
to,
a whole new term though. He doesn't need to be sworn in for his full term.
once we are required to swear people in once to serve on the board.
Oh, okay.
That's how it's always been done. But one thing that we do in Richland County is usually at our annual dinner, I have somebody swear in all of the board members, which is what I wanted to bring up. September 21st, it's the night of our regular board meeting. Since we didn't have an annual dinner in 2020, we didn't have one for fiscal 21. We're having one in September, and it's going to represent 20, 21, and 22. And if one of you would be available on the 21st to swear in board members, Tuesdays don't work for you, but if one of you would be available, I'd love to have you there. This is one of the things, we're not charging for this dinner. We're doing a celebration of the agent.
Tell Cliff that he would have given you money if you could put it towards the organization.
We usually do charge, but for this one, we're just inviting people.
So it's free food.
It'll be free food. It's gonna be
Put that in the minutes.
gonna be at Bucks.
Oh,
We're using their
Our event center's nice.
event center, so we needed a new location. Dan Lou's just charging too much. So
really?
I like his food, but boy, when
Bucks is good.
yeah,
We just had our class reunion at Bucks. And they did a nice job.
they're good things, so we'll give this a try. And
Sending a notice of this.
I'll let you know. I just want to make sure I brought you
Mention something.
to get it on your calendar.
Piano to come.
All right, fabulous. That's all I had. Leave you a couple of things off because I always have stuff for you. You invited me.
To discuss appointments, Trollian.
I had a appointment. I said, well, I'll be late to it because Charlie.
Right.
Yeah, never let the plan go. Announcement for our urgent cares.
Thank you.
Second. High water and our new Richland County one.
All right.
And I'm gonna put these out in the hallway too and replace you. Oh, I probably just unplugged you or something.
No, we're okay.
All right. And that's all I have. Anything else you would like?
Good. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for coming in and
Very
explaining.
much.
Appreciate it, Joe.
And I will go ahead and reach out to Jeff and let him know what was discussed here today.
You should be okay with that.
Oh, yeah, I think he'll be
I
fine.
think that's a really good suggestion.
I think his,
I feel a whole lot better.
I think his big concern that you guys were gonna just mix his appointment altogether, so.
Yeah.
I said, I don't think there's an intention to do that. It's just a eliminate conflict. And then, yeah, I'll make it clear to him too, that if at some point in time you choose.
He needs to let us know. But it's fine, but right.
That is your right, but.
It's right.
Be a-
Now he'll speed up the case, right?
Well, it depends. I mean, we can't even talk about it. So.
And I got
I know.
2 years left on that commercial term, so I'm
Good
not
time.
worried about it. Thank you very much.
All right, Joe.
It is 11:15 and do I hear anybody out there in telephone land that
Video.
talk to us?
No,
Any
you guys have worn me out. I'm done.
That certainly
have
wasn't
any
our
questions.
intention, but okay. At 11:15, we will stand adjourned.